You know that family member who's just not sold yet on VR, even though you keep trying to tell them, you sing it to their praises, and you just let them know, hey guys, this is amazing, it's coming, and they're just not feeling it. I have a friend like that who even has a Quest 1, the original, but we were on the phone earlier and it sparked a discussion where he asked me, I just don't see a real world use where people would want to be in their VR headsets over being in the real world, other than long distance relationships, friendships that don't live in the same city. That I get, but other than that, why else wouldn't I want to like just go over to your house? Why wouldn't I want to go to a movie with you instead of head over to big screen and just put on our goggles and watch it from our separate apartments, but in a VR app? That seems weird. He couldn't wrap his head around it. I want to talk today about my answer to that and what I think is coming very, very, very quickly. And if you just look at the outlook of where, at least in the United States, things seem to be headed, this was my answer of the future of VR and why I think it's going to happen a lot faster than a lot of us expect. He had started off the conversation by saying, you know what, Adam, like I would be really sad if we got to a point where you and I live 20 minutes away from each other in the same city, but we just don't feel like going out, so we throw on our headsets, and instead of watching TV together, we jump on big screen and we watch a movie through an app. And I understand that. Like, there's a part of him that is old school. We're 40 years old, by the way. I'm about to turn 40 in like a week. So I was born in 1983. He was born in 1984. We have a little bit of that old school mentality still left in us. And, you know, he couldn't understand. I said, well, dude, that's true. And I see what you're saying. The pandemic made us do a lot of that, and we didn't really love it. So why would we go back to choosing that if we had a choice to go over to someone's house? Well, the answer to that for me, and something that I want you to really ponder, what do you think about what I'm about to say? Because I hope it's not controversial, but this is the honest truth of where I think things are headed. And I want you to comment below. Am I crazy? Do you see this coming too? Let me read you some statistics. If you look around at some of the cities in our country, and I don't get political on this channel, wherever you stand on the political aisle, I'm just going to read some stats on what's happening in some of the major cities in our country. And this was the point that I was bringing up to my friend, where I said, you know, if you look at cities like New York or San Francisco or Oakland or Portland or Detroit or St. Louis or Baltimore or close to home where I live in DC, cities are feeling it right now. It is rough. And just in my city alone, where I live 20 minutes out of Washington, D.C., there have been 866 carjackings in 2023 so far. In 2018, just 5 years ago, there were 140. Think about that. All right? In 2022, there was only 485, which is still a big jump from 140. But then in 2023, we've got 866, where there were 79 in the month of September alone. 75% of the carjackings involved guns. A growing number of carjackings conducted by teenagers, many of them 16 to 17-year-old. It's becoming a thing amongst young people and our youth. Violent crime in DC is up 39% compared to last year. And lastly, motor vehicle theft rose by 106%, it says. And then the final note here is that the FBI recently reported that 25,400 carjackings occurred nationwide in 2022. And that was an 8% increase from the previous year. I don't even want to know what the end of the year stats are going to be for 2023. Why am I pulling up carjackings? Why am I looking at that? Think about it. Let's go to his scenario where he said, if we're 20 minutes away and we live in a world we don't want to hang out because we're just becoming lazy. I said, you know, man, it might not be the point where it's because we're lazy. It might be because I don't want to get in my car and risk something like this happening to me in that 20-minute drive across the city to come to your apartment, where it just becomes, you know, if we keep going on this path where things just start to decline and decline and decline and just at a rapid pace, eventually it's going to become safer to hang out in VR than it will be just to travel across the city to your friend's apartment. Now that saddens me. Not the fact that we're lazy enough to not want to do it, but the fact that we might actually do it because of our safety is what I'm sort of worried about. And I don't mean to doom and gloom on this video at all, or not really on this channel. This is more about the fun side of life and the inner, letting your inner kid out. But imagine, the inner kid in me who used to run around playing and climbing trees and stuff in the 80s and 90s, like, I don't really feel super comfortable going out and around in the city, even in the daytime. And I'll finish with this story, and then I'll get you out of here, because I don't mean to keep you long on this video. I really just wanted to kind of spark this discussion and see what you all think, and see if I'm crazy about this, or if you're feeling it too where you live, and if you think this might actually be a real reason that we are all hopping into these VR headsets way quicker than we all might have intended to, especially as they get better and better and more realistic. I mean, seeing a movie in big screen VR is not a lot different than going to a movie theater with your friend if the quality is really good. And with the Quest 3, like, it's really getting good. And I can't even imagine with a big screen Beyond headset formed to your face perfectly through a facial scan. Like, yeah, I can't even imagine. So the final story I want to leave you with, and then this will just kind of like set the table, and then you all take it away in the comments. I'm a DJ. I'm a pretty prominent DJ here in Washington, D.C. I'm blessed to be able to do that for my full-time job. I love VR. It's kind of an escape for me. I get to go and basically dream in real life, and I love doing that on my days off. So I book weddings, I book high-end events. I work for companies like, I was the VIP DJ for Morgan Wallen, for Florida Georgia Line. I do big companies like Patron, Lockheed Martin, a lot of the governmental companies around here in DC. So, I get pretty good offers to do some awesome events. I'm going to Austin, Texas for 4 days in December to host a cybersecurity conference. I pick up a lot of MC, hosting, DJ events. That's my full-time job. And I got an email the other day for a request to do New Year's Eve in Washington, D.C. And I think the time was like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. or maybe it was like 10 to 2 a.m. or something like that in Northwest D.C. And, any other year, any other time in my past, I would have been like, yeah, absolutely. I have New Year's Eve open. That's a great night to work, because if you're a DJ working on New Year's Eve, I'll just be honest with you. You can judge if you want, but I mean, it's a really fun time to be a DJ, because you're the coolest guy in the room, in a room full of people that just want to party and that are all dressed to their best and all spend a bunch of money to be there and all have the intention of throwing down hard, which for a DJ is like the best crowd, because everyone's just like having at it. People pretty much get pretty loose at the end of the night. Like the DJ, not to take advantage of anyone, but if you did want to have your pick of like pretty much anyone in the crowd that's single, that's pretty much there for you. So if that's the kind of person you are, you want to do that, you want to hook up or meet someone. I'm single. I'd like to meet somebody on New Year's. It'd be a lot easier if I was the DJ. I turned that gig down without even thinking about it. I don't have anything booked that day. I probably could have charged upwards of $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, something like that. And I didn't even think about it. It's more beneficial to me to not be driving out of DC at 2 a.m. with those stats on a day where it's probably going to be pretty prevalent. People are looking for stuff to do. Kids are out. They don't have school the next day. So it's like, I don't feel safe going into the city with all of my equipment, my DJ gear, everything that I own that I use to run my business in my car when carjackings are up by this amount of numbers, and 79% of them, 75% of them involve guns. I can't carry a gun in Washington, D.C. It's a no-carry district, yet all 75% of them involve guns. So I'm just going into a gun battle with a knife, basically, or nothing at all, like pepper spray, great. So I can't arm myself. I have all of my equipment for my business. And on the cherry on top is I drive a Kia Soul, which is like one of these cars that gets targeted because it's super easy to steal. So like, I didn't even think twice. I was like, you know what? I just responded. I was like, oh man, I wish I could. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to work with you in the future. Unfortunately, I'm not available that day. And I am available that day. I turned down whatever, $1,000, $2,000 to work that in a really fun night, just because I don't feel comfortable anymore. I don't feel safe doing that. I don't want to be in the city at 2 a.m. anymore, coming out of the city at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So you know what I did? I started looking around on VR chat. I started looking around on like, where can I DJ on New Year's Eve in virtual reality, where it's safe, where I can still drink and party and hang out from my room, but be around a whole bunch of people. This is what I tried to point out to my friend. Like, if we keep going down this path where quality of life, it degrades and people are more and more triggered because they're getting squeezed by the dollar and everything's costs more and we make just the same or less, and you know, housing's going up. It's just a big recipe for disaster. So I don't want to say Ready Player One nailed it. So I don't want to say my favorite movie, Ready Player One, nailed it. But it looks like they're on the right track, and I would hate to see us get there. So what do you think in the comments section? Is this something that's going to drive, is the degradation of our cities and our outside life going to drive us? Actually, is this going to become a reality where we would rather hang out in VR because it's safer? Is that something that you think I'm nuts and no, you're letting the terrorists win, or you're letting the thieves win, and you should really go out and live your life and all that? I understand that too. I really do. I'd love to hear from all of you in the comments, and you know, subscribe for more, because I'm trying to build something here where we can all learn from each other and just have a community of people that are like-minded and really hang out and get the best out of each other. If we're gonna lift society up, we have to start with us, and that's what I'm going to start doing from this channel. Is really looking for the best in all of us and trying to inspire, and the way that I talk about things and in the way that I live my life too. So I got to really look in the mirror myself. That's what I'm going to be doing here in the next coming year. That's my New Year's resolution. And hey, if you've got somewhere for me to DJ on New Year's Eve, somewhere in the metaverse, let me know. I'll DJ your party. I got Tribe VR. I got the whole thing. I'm all for it. I'd love to hang out with you on New Year's Eve. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the comments. Let me know what you all think. Have a great day.